Hi creative friends. Today I'm sharing how I'm totally transforming this thrifted drum table that I picked up for $15.99. I'm also sharing a new to me paint and stain color. I'm sharing the free wood conditioner I use before I stain and how I refresh brass details without removing them. Hi, I'm Denise from Salvaged Inspirations. Welcome back to my furniture painting DIY channel. Let's get started. Here's the drum table I found selling at my local thrift store for $15.99. You could tell that the finish on the top had been very well loved, but overall this piece was in excellent condition, even on the inside. And everything always looks better when I get it home and bring it down into my studio. I inspected it again once I had it home, and the wood was in really good condition other than the top, and I really liked the brass details on the legs. And taking another thorough look at the top, it actually looked like that dark spot was some sort of stain. There was also some bubbling of the top coat, worn down stain, and yes, this top was in desperate need of a makeover. I started by grabbing my drop cloth, flipping it over, and spraying it with my TSP substitute, giving it a good cleaning with my large automotive sponge. On the bottom, I also found an authentic tag, article number 55 commode, trimmed by number 67 from the Hespler Furniture Company in Hespler, Ontario, which is Cambridge. So it's definitely a local solid wood piece. Maybe you guys can help me out, but I always thought a commode was a toilet. So I'm not sure why it says commode on the bottom of this drum table. If any of you guys know, I would love to hear in the comments down below. Once I had the underside and all the sides cleaned, I flipped it over and I brought out my heat gun to remove this price tag. Then I went ahead, sprayed the top, and gave the top a really good cleaning. And check this out. The stain came right off. As I mentioned, I'm using a TSP substitute called White Lightning. It comes in powder form, and I add a couple of tablespoons to some water in my spray bottle. And it does a really good job at removing stains, grease, dirt, etc. The best part is it's very inexpensive because you're mixing it yourself. The jar of powder will last you for months and months. Once the top was all cleaned up as best as I could get it, I opened it up and worked on the inside of this drum table, making sure that everything was sparkling clean on the inside as well. Now it was time to remove the finish on the top of this drum table. I decided to use my carbide scraper as I did not want to use any stripper. Again, I still can't open my windows for ventilation because the temperature is frigid cold here. I just kept working my way around this table until the majority of the original finish was removed. I have a full tutorial on how to use a carbide scraper, and I'll leave that in the cards above. Once I removed the majority of the finish using the carbide scraper, I brought this into my sanding room and used my Bosch orbital sander with a 180 grit to remove the rest of the finish. The sander does a really nice job of smoothing everything out as well. This drum tabletop is veneer, so I had to be really careful not to use a really aggressive grit on this and just take my time so I wouldn't sand through the veneer, which is really easy to do. I've done it numerous times. Once I had the top all complete, I took a sanding sponge, which is, I believe, a 220 grit, and I scuff sanded the entire body. I like using these sanding sponges for any sort of rounded piece of furniture or legs. It just hugs into all those curves and rounded edges and works really nicely. I brought this piece back into my paint room and started removing the hardware. I was thinking I was going to remove all the brass from this piece before I painted it, But no, I would not have been able to do this without making a mess of this piece and then having repairs to do. I didn't get it on camera, but while I was trying to take the back plate off, the way this piece is constructed, with it being hammered on and everything, I just thought the quicker and safer way to do this is to mask everything off with green painter's tape. And since I already had the masking tape or the painter's tape out and was masking off all the rest of the detailing, I decided to do the hinges as well. And an easy way I find to do this is just put a larger piece of painter's tape on top. Then take your fingers and snug it all around those hinges, and then take a utility knife, X-Acto knife, and cut around it. I use the exact same method to cover the back plates on the hardware as well. And I will add that it is preferable to take all the hardware off before you do start painting or staining, etc. However, sometimes it's just, maybe it's a timing thing. Maybe it's like in this case, I would have done more damage to the piece than have to fix everything up. Also, for beginners, if you're first starting out and you're unsure how to take the hardware off, don't let that stop you. Know that you can mask it off and still do beautiful furniture makeovers. So like I said, use your own judgment and do what's best for you, because each furniture makeover, you'll learn something new, as I always do, and they are supposed to be fun. And speaking of fun, check out this new color called olive wood. I like it right out of the jar, but just wait until you see it on this piece. I haven't used chalk paint in a while, so I debated whether to prime before painting. I wasn't worried about bleed through, and I had scuff sanded, so I thought I would go with the how to use instructions and just start painting it right onto the piece. I am so used to priming and or using a paint with a built-in primer that this did feel a little uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie. After all these years of painting furniture, including primer is second nature to me. But again, this is a great reminder to myself that I don't always need to. Chalk paint is on the thicker side, so I used my continuous water mister to spray both my brush and a little bit of water even on the piece and into the paint. So if you find while you're painting with a chalk paint, and this goes for any brand, don't hesitate to dilute it a little bit with a little bit of water just to thin it out so you get a nice smooth brush on feel. However, saying that, I would put your paint into a cup or onto a plate before you add a little bit of water. Don't do it right into the jar or can of paint, depending on what brand you're using, because then if you let it sit for months before you use it again, it could contaminate the paint. I just worked my way around this entire piece and enjoyed using this new color. To paint the rounded legs, I used my slap it on technique where I add a little bit of paint onto the tips of the brush and then I just slap it on in a horizontal, not going up and down. I go around the leg rather than go up and down the leg, and this really eliminates brush marks. The first coat is always the ugly coat. You will see a little bit there. But once you go in with your additional coats, it will look fabulous. After I completed the first coat, I let everything dry overnight and I came back the next morning and started applying the second coat. And this is where the magic happens. First coat always looks not so great. Once you start applying your second and or third coat, if need be, it really comes to life. I ended up applying 3 coats in total. I'm guessing that if I had used primer, the 2 coats would have given me full coverage. Now that I had the body of this table done, it was time to work on the top. I took my sanding sponge and lightly sanded around the edges because there was a little bit of the olive wood paint that had seeped through. So I just cleaned everything up. Before I tried this new to me stain color called Whiskey Barrel. I was actually going to go to my go-to Charred Hickory, but since I tried the new paint color, I thought, Denise, just do it. Just try the new stain color as well. Voodoo Gel Stain, it's called. It's by Dixie Belle. It's water-based, which is awesome. You don't need ventilation to use this. What I do is I give it a really good shake, mix everything up, and then I pour a little bit into the cup. I like applying this water-based stain with a very inexpensive chip brush. And what I use to give it a wood conditioner prior to applying the stain, and this is to get a more even looking stain, is water. So I use my continuous mister. I spray a section of the wood prior to applying, and I just paint it on, applying the water-based stain. Then using a shop towel or a paper towel, I just wipe back the excess. Really, applying water-based stain couldn't be easier. I remember when I first started painting furniture and doing my furniture makeovers, stain really intimidated me. But if you're just starting out, I can assure you that if you can paint furniture, you can stain furniture. It's same. I work in smaller sections because you want to keep this wet. You don't want it to dry. I move on to the next section. And again, using my continuous mister, I give the tabletop a little bit of a misting. Then I dip my brush into the water-based stain and brush it on. Once I have that section brushed on, I wipe it back with, again, a soft lint-free towel or paper towel, whatever you have on hand. I actually ended up preferring using the lint-free towel. I think it gave it a nice softer look and blended it in nicely. So just my opinion, while I was applying it, I wasn't sure I was going to really like the Whiskey Barrel. And I'll tell you why, because it seemed like a lot of the orange was beating through this stain. And I thought, oh no, how many coats of this am I going to need to use? However, just wait until you see what it looks like dry. I love it, and I'll definitely be using it again. I also wanted to mention that if you end up getting any of the stain on the side where you painted the chalk paint, just take a soft lint-free rag, spray it with a little bit of water, and wipe it right off. And the sooner you do this, the better. So what I always do is I inspect all the way around after I finish applying the stain, just to make sure that everything is nice, neat, and clean. I let everything dry, and then I wanted to top coat. I opened up the window. I bit the bullet and opened up the window and set up my fan. And yes, it's so cold out there. But I knew it would be so much easier for me to spray the top coat rather than brush it on or sponge it on because of all these grooves and the roundness of the piece. Spraying it is just so much easier. I sprayed 3 coats of gator hide. And I do like giving it a very light sanding between the first and second coat. The third coat I leave be. I do not touch it at all. And you may have noticed that I did not remove any of the painter's tape yet because I knew that I was going to update all the brass on this piece with gilding wax. And once I finished spraying the body, I sprayed the top as well. And check out this lovely stain. I was so impressed with this Whiskey Barrel. It looks beautiful. I don't have a designated spray booth, so I have my paint sprayer set on a very light spray. This just means that it comes out a little bit less and I go over it more. So whatever your paint sprayer or your paint spray conditions are, you can tweak that sprayer to have a lot of output, a little bit of output, but you just have to figure it out with the spray settings. Once the 3 coats of top coat were 100% dry, I grabbed my heat gun and started removing the painter's tape. Then grabbing an artist brush and some gold gilding wax, I started updating these brass details, and it makes such a difference. It really does. And even the area where there was a little bit of wood above the brass, I painted it in gold gilding wax, and check it out. I think it looks awesome. It really updates the piece. It gives it a little bit more gold detailing, and you really can't tell the difference other than if you look up close, you can tell there's a texture difference, but the gold blended in beautifully. I worked my way around the 4 legs, and this detailing part is one of my favorite parts. The piece just really comes to life. And the funny part is I wasn't even going to grab this piece. When I was with my sister in the thrift store and saw it for $15.99, it was not standing out to me at all. And it was my sister who encouraged me to grab it. So when you see these old pieces, or maybe you have an old piece from the 70s or 80s, take a second look because it can turn into something fabulous. After I finished up with the legs, I removed the tape on the backplate hardware, and I just want to share how far this gilding wax goes. I've had this little jar of gilding wax for, I would say, probably a year and a half, and it's maybe not even 3/4 gone. And I do a lot of furniture, and I use it on a lot of furniture. A little goes a long way, so it's an awesome investment to have in your inventory. And as always, I'll include the links to all the products that I've used in the description box down below. And just as a reminder, here's the before. And here's the after. I hope you enjoyed today's furniture makeover. Feel free to leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this makeover. Also hit that like button, be sure to subscribe, and you can also sign up over at salvagedinspirations.com, where we have over 600 furniture painting and DIY tutorials, and then you can get all the new makeovers sent right to your inbox. Until next project, have a fabulous week. Bye guys.